Hello, it's me, Skarkar, with a Figma tutorial. Figma is a software that is free for students, that is used for UI, UX activities, and it's proven to be a lot of fun when working with the tool. We'll be going through a few exercises today based on framework and simple UI practices. We'll talk about the menu and what is all included on the menu and different things you can do with Figma. Now, when we start off, Figma's kind of daunting, even though there's not much going on. That can be daunting in itself. So there you have our tools up here, and our tools can be frame, shape, and shape tools can range from rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, and place image video. We'll talk about that later. The pen tool. The pen also includes pencil. Your pen is more it's shaped, whereas your pencil is just free-handed. And text tool, the resources tool, which we'll talk about some today. We'll go in a little bit about plugins and stuff like that. And then your move tool for your canvas. We don't really have anything to go off of right now. And then comments. So we'll write hello for our first comment. Okay. All right. Now, move that. Now, starting off in Figma, we're going to use the frame tool. The frame has a frame, section, and slice. We're going to be just using frame today. And on the right, you'll see a pop-up window, the design window, and the prototype window. Right now, we're just going to be working with design. So the frame is basically a framework of what specific device you are working with or whatever you'd like to do. So for instance, the MacBook or the desktop for Windows users and stuff like that, and just a basic wireframe if you're just prototyping versus getting used to the atmosphere. For now, we're going to go with wireframe because that's what we do. So I'm using a little bit of shortcuts here. I'm going to be using the move shortcut, which is hold down the spacebar and then left click to drag and move your canvas around. You can also do this by the move tool by clicking up here and moving this way. All right, now the next thing I'm going to be doing a lot is zooming in, because if you do the scroll wheel, nothing really happens. It just scrolls up and scrolls down, and that's really unhelpful. So again, I'm going to move using my shortcut keys. And then right now I'm going to be using control, hold down control, and then scroll wheel. I'm going to scroll in and scroll out. I'll be using that a lot. I'll be kind of going slow, so if you need to catch up, just pause the video and we'll go from there. All right, so to begin, I'm going to move this. I'm going to delete this actually. All right. To begin, we're going to do a basic wireframe, and I'm going to show you some of the layout first and some basic interactions of Figma itself. All right, so you want to create a wireframe in Figma. You want to do many things. You want to show multiple windows that people might see, or just create a basic wireframe for yourself if you're doing a specific task. So I'm going to zoom out here. So we all know about Control C and Control D. So I'm going to click this wireframe up here, right there. Then basically the name. You can rename it to whatever you want. I'm going to rename mine to Home. You can double click it, it'll also work. And then I'm going to use a little shortcut key called Alt and then left click, Alt left click, and then drag. You're going to see a bunch of little lines come up. It's just to align your wireframes together. So now we have a separate frame called Home. We'll rename this to Second. So that is just getting you used to a couple things. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So your X and your Y are in relative to this great space that you see out here. Oh yeah, all the space. Don't get daunted by that. We're just going to be working with our little small space today. So I'm actually going to click something here. I clicked off. For those of you that didn't see, I clicked off and off of the main point. And I'm going to click on the home just once, and then I'm going to press the button Shift 1, and it's going to give us this huge view, or it's going to fill our view of both of our wireframes. And this will be good. But right now we're just going to work with home. So I used Shift 2. So you click home and then you hit Shift 2 and it'll bring you to this screen where we're going to be working with right now. All right. So that's the basics of just moving around, getting used to the feel of Figma. It should be pretty, you know, it's pretty simple for that aspect, but it's going to get a little bit more challenging as time goes on. All right. So right now you see that if we're clicked off, you see nothing. However, if you click on, you're going to see the X and Y axis of where we are relative to the space. You're going to see the width of the frame and the height of the frame. And if we double click that or just edit it in general, you can type whatever you want. I'm going to leave mine at 1440 and 1024 because that's just great. That's what we need. And then let's just start working, because if you want to work in Figma, it's just great to just get your hands dirty right out the gate. So I want to create a website. I want to create a website for, let's say, my favorite shapes. So let's just work through something like that so that you get an idea of what that would look like. So first, we're going to use a different color because I don't like a white background. I actually prefer a light tan background, something like this. It's more almost like parchment feel. So you can choose whatever color you want, and we'll be using that as our background or as our foreground for our canvas frame. Okay, so now we are going to do just some basic text editing. So let's come over here. You click the text button and then click back on to your frame, and you'll see that under the frame over here, your layers, their frame, oh, I lost it. Your frame will have the text under it. It'll be in a little drop down. All right, now let's text my favorite shape website. So now I'm going to double click this so that highlights all of the text. I'm going to go over to our design, and you see that it's now focused in on specifically the text that we're editing with. So you see fonts over here. So text, this is the fonts tab. It's not entirely obvious because it just says enter to begin with. That always kind of confused me. We want to click this drop down right here in this file to go to Google Fonts, because I personally love the Google fonts. There's so many and they're very versatile. I'm going to go to one of my favorite fonts, which is up here a little bit. I can't find it. Here it is. Kaisei Deko. It is actually originated in Korean, I believe, because it uses no, Japanese. It's kanji. Anyways, doesn't matter. This, we're making the text font larger, so the point. So this is 32 point. My favorite shape. And we're gonna level that right where it tells us to, in the middle of this line here. My favorite shape. And we're gonna come down, and I'll make this a little bigger actually, to maybe 64. And Figma is great, honestly, for just using things for, if you're a little older or a little younger, you can create your vision of what your website would look like before you get too heavily into anything else on HTML front or CSS. So I like this. I love this little thing that we got going on here. I'm gonna change this to medium, this font style. So regular, medium, bold. I'm gonna make ours bold. It's big and bold. And then I'm going to talk about right now some of the other text features. So we have line spacing. So if I had another line, this line, and I edit this text and I highlight all of it, I'm going to go right here to this 0, and you see how it has a little line. You can actually click and hold this. You see this little double arrow action going on. You can slide it, and it will actually increase and decrease your line. But for now, I'm just going to put this at 10. Actually, let's try 20. And it's just a little bit more spaced out. And then over here, it's just kind of like Word. You have your align editing options. So we're gonna line that right there, my favorite shape, and then I'm gonna put is the circle. Oh my gosh. All right. So now we have that in our little atmosphere, in our frame, and you know what? I want a really cool, I want a cool picture behind it. But for now, we're just gonna put a rectangle, and we'll talk about how to put a image in a minute. So we use the shape tool, and we come up here and we drag our big box in my big box. I'm gonna put it in the very center. And oh no, it's in front of my text. So you can go over here. We can click this text text layer, and then we're gonna go above. We're gonna drag it above and put it above it, and there we go. So we can actually now see. I'm gonna move this down a little. We're gonna see our shape or our text. And this shape can be edited different ways. Once it's highlighted, we can edit it different ways. So we're going to give it a curve because I don't like super harsh corners on my text boxes. I think they're a little weird. So over here, when we see our width and height, this is the width and this is the height. There's this little corner tool, and again, you can click and drag, but for now, I like to do numbers. So I'm going to click this right here, hit 10, and that is to edit our radius or our turning point. You can also go right here, these little circles, and click, and again, drag down and up, and you can make it more fun. Well, I guess if we're using if my favorite shape is circle, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to make my favorite shape an ellipse. And one fun thing about Figma is if you hold the shift key on your device while clicking and holding and dragging this little corner, it'll actually create a perfect circle. So you see in the bottom it says 552 by 552 pixels. So we're going to be using that feature to make a big circle. I'm going to go, oh, lorsh. Okay, I'm going to go, and don't be worried, or don't fret if you accidentally let go of the shift key too early. It's just going to mess it up a bit, but it's going to mess it up a tiny bit. However, you can just come back and then press the shift key again, and you should, well, it's not allowing me now. I'm just going to delete this and then try again. Yeah, I'm not perfect. You're going to be using shift, and I'm going to be doing 636 by 636. Come here, and then once again, we're going to go over to our layers tab and move this up. There we go. My favorite shape is a circle. And already that looks really great. However, I want to make something fun with this little shape. So again, I'm going to come over to our fill, and this is going to be your color for the circle. I think I like red a lot, so I'm going to use red. Okay, that's great. But I want to add some like texture, some like effect to it. So I'm going to go over to effects and click the plus, or you can just, honestly, you can just click effects and it'll add one to you. And I love a good drop shadow. So we're going to add a nice drop shadow to this. And I'm going to click this little sun icon. And it's going to change the way our effect is shown. So our Y will make it go up and down. And our X will make it go left or right, depending. And the blur is depending on how much blurriness you want behind the object. So I'm going to go with 0. So I'm going to make it super defined. And then I'm also going to make it go 7 pixels to the right. So now you can see it. It's a little obvious. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, and you can see our little effect. So I'm going to turn the blurriness up because it doesn't look that great if it's not blurry. Okay, great. That looks like it's kind of popping out at the user. It's kind of fun. And we can also do the same thing with our text. So if you go scroll down here in your design, we're going to go to effects, and then drop shadow, and then I'm also going to put it to 7 because I just really like that. So it's about the same. Okay, fun. So it looks like it's a little, shape with some text in front of it, and it's a lot of fun. So we're going to now go over to the pen tool, and we're going to create a little icon for our favorite shape is a circle. So let's say we wanted to get to the next page. Just a simple little button or little thing that we want to do. Okay, so let's make a arrow first. And we're going to click that little point. All right. Now we're going to go up here. My arrow is going to go facing this way. We're going to go make a small point there. Point here. And we're going to align this with it here. About there is good. Come back to there. Back. And then connect. Now we have our arrow. And I'm going to fill our arrow, so I'm going to go over here to stroke. Actually, I'm fill. I'm going to click fill. And again, we just do that by clicking the plus or clicking the actual button. And then I'm going to make this, let's make it a green. A nice green color. Nice. Now, I'm also going to talk about stroke here in a minute, just real quick. It's another art tool that you can use that, again, just hit plus, or it's usually sometimes already there. And you see it's already outlining our arrow. That's what we use to actually draw with. So I'm going to make this actually 0.5. And yes, you can do in between numbers, whole numbers such as 0.5, 2.5, stuff like that. And I'm going to make this the same green. And you can see the document colors. You can come down here and I'm just going to click that. So it looks cohesive. All right. I'm going to zoom out with our control scroll. And then I'm going to make this bigger. So I'm going to hit, just like the circle, you can make your shapes a little bit bigger proportionally so it won't mess up. So I'm not clicking shift right now. So it can do this. Oh no. So I'm going to hit Control Z. And then I'm going to hold down shift and then click and drag. And see how it's maintaining the same proportions. That's what we want to see. All right. So I'm going to put that right there. Perfect. Well, I don't like that. So it's going to go right there instead. All right. So now that we have this, I want to make this a button. And I know this is kind of advanced and this is kind of, for a small Figma tutorial. However, it's something we need to know moving forward for basic things. So I'm going to scroll out. And if you want a quicker way to move that's not just space and click, there's also, if your mouse is able to and has a scroll or scroll, you can actually click the scroll, like hold down the scroll button, and it will allow you to move this as well. So I'm going to be doing that as well at times. So, all right. Right now we have our different vector drawing. So this is vector drawing. And then we have our layers, and then we have our second frame, which is over here. So I'm going to hit Shift 1 so I can see both. And then I'm going to click our arrow. Now our arrow does nothing currently. It's not a button. It's not really doing anything for us. So I want it to do something. So I'm going to go over to here, prototype, and instantly we're brought with an interactions tab. So I'm going to click interactions. So on click, this is already great. It's pretty easy. We're going to navigate to. We can do a bunch of different stuff. We'll talk about overlays in another video. We're going to navigate to, and then it's going to give you different frames. So your frames here. It'll also highlight it on the left if you're looking. It's also highlighting it. So we're going to go to the second, which is our second frame. And let's do a smart animate. So it's going to ease out. Perfect. That'll look great. This is a little short animation of what it'll look like. All right. Now I'm gonna just make a little text on here. Yay! You did it. All right, and we're gonna click. Make sure you're clicking back into design when you're doing that. I didn't, but you should. All right. I'll make this a little bigger like we did. Once again. Yay, you did it. Cool. Now I'm going to go back and prototype. You see this little arrow that it gave you? If you ever wanted to edit it, you just click the arrow. This little blue arrow, I mean, not our green arrow. And it'll still give you that on-click interactions. It's just going to put that in a little menu that's going to pop out. And you can drag this around too. So if I wanted it to do something else, then it could do something else, but I don't. All right, so we're gonna go back to design up here. And then up here, we're gonna see a prototype view or a present view button. So we're gonna click that, and instantly it brings up a new tab. Don't be freaked out, it's okay. And it says my favorite shape is the circle. So this is our little website, right? And this is all great. It looks good, it looks a little clean. We're gonna do a few fun little things in the next videos, talking about how to spruce up these shapes and how to create your own icons. So if you wanted to get into iconography, and we're also going to talk about how text and overlays work, and we're going to see this green arrow. Yay! You did it! Woohoo! All right. Thank you guys for joining me in this Figma tutorial. Goodbye.